Now that we are familiar with the basic definitions for stakeholders and stakeholder management, we still need to understand how to employ stakeholder management in practice. Well, regardless of modern or traditional project thinking, the practice of stakeholder management is rather similar. In brief, the practical stakeholder management process includes 4 phases that are iterative in nature. First, data collection. Second, identification and classification. Third, strategy formulation. And 4, strategy implementation. In the first phase, in data collection, the purpose is to gather relevant information of all possible stakeholders now or in the future. Data can be gathered, for instance, with different methods ranging from interviews and surveys to corporate lists, company reports, and company news, and so forth. In second phase, based on the gathered data, stakeholders are identified and classified according to their key characteristics and attributes, using one or more pragmatic tools or frameworks. These key characteristics or attributes may include stakeholders' interest level, power level, or salience, for instance. But remember, the interpretation of key characteristics and attributes is a subjective estimation, meaning that it is not absolute or objective truth and may result in bias. In third phase, after identifying and classifying stakeholders, appropriate actions or strategies are considered for each stakeholder individually. For instance, discuss and form collaborative actions with Y and ignore X for now. Here the role of the modern or traditional thinking comes into play. Whether the decision makers follow the more modern thinking, then the strategies can include detailed action plans of how to engage other parties and how to consider their proposals. Whereas if the decision makers follow traditional thinking, then the strategies include detailed action plans of how to control other parties so that the own parent organization's objectives are met. However, a single stakeholder is not usually just one stakeholder, and therefore different strategies may be required even for one stakeholder, which is not one but many. This is because organizations consist of groups, which in turn consist of individuals, and all kinds of firm interactions are usually at the level of individuals who represent their groups and/or organizations. To clarify, an initial stakeholder management strategy may have been based on an individual that misrepresented the particular stakeholder's objectives, and therefore a different strategy might be needed for that stakeholder based on some other individual representing that organization. As an example, think about a heterogeneous or even pluralistic residents association, which may include a multitude of individual opinions about a particular project that are also communicated in a rather incoherent manner. In these situations, different and dynamic strategies might be needed and possibly more data collection. In the fourth and final phase, the designed action plans are implemented by assigning individuals to duties. After implementation, the action plans require constant monitoring and necessary modifications based on feedback. Necessary modifications may appear based on the stakeholders' reactions and also based on the interactions between various stakeholders, including the parent organization. Also, if some stakeholders embrace changes in their key attributes or characteristics, it may require new action plans. Also, if completely new stakeholders enter and/or old stakeholders leave, new action plans are definitely needed. So in conclusion, stakeholder management is a continuous analysis process including iterations based on feedback.